Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to share a few helpful hints and hacks for grading in Canvas. So these are really if you're wanting to save yourself some time when you're entering scores for students, and there's a lot of different ways you can do it. There's going to be some keyboard shortcuts as well as just some filtering pieces that can make your life a little bit easier as you have lots of assignments and things to grade. So I am in a sample course right now. It's a professional development course where a bunch of teachers have submitted assignments and things. So there are a few helpful things. I'm going to start off here in the gradebook view, and then I'll also show you a few hints for SpeedGrader, which is really great when you're digging through some projects or more assignments in depth and you want to see the student work and submission while you grade. So if I'm here on this page right now, I have all of my students. So one helpful thing to do is just to filter by the assignments and the groups, the status, all of that jazz. So you can filter this by only the students who have submitted the work. So if I have someone who has submitted this, I can filter it. I can get rid of some of these other groups. I can filter it by the students who are excused, or if I need to enter in those scores or adjust it, I can do that. You can also filter by the different submissions here as well. So ones that you've graded, maybe ones you haven't graded. So that's also great if you get interrupted in the middle of grading work. Other filters is that if you are a teacher at the secondary level who teaches multiple class periods, you can also filter by those class periods as well. So there's usually called sections in Canvas, and you can filter by that in the gradebook, but you can also do that on SpeedGrader. So if I'm here in my course, and I also want to use a few other helpful hints. So right here, the way the assignments are organized by default is that it's just going to be here by due date. If I ever wanted to rearrange something, I can move those orders around in case it's something that I'm grading and I'm going to have those grades entered before maybe something that's a little bit more of a longer due date. So you can always change the order of things if you would like. But what I like to do is if I scroll over the total column, I don't want to keep scrolling over every single time. So what I would do is hover over this three dot button and click it, and then you can actually move that to the front, which is amazing. So I can move it to the front if I would like. And now when I enter scores, I can see how it's affecting the students right here. And then I can move around these assignments should I need to. And I can even filter it by one assignment if I want, instead of seeing all of these assignments, if I want to focus and see how that affects the overall grade. The other things you can do here in your view, so if you have lots of different categories set up in your assignments in Canvas, like quizzes and assignments, projects, classwork, all that stuff, you don't want to see those categories right here, you can hide them by going to the settings button. And then if I go over here to my grade posting policy, I can see a few things, but I can also select view options. So I can hide assignment group totals. I can also split student names if I want to. You can hide unpublished assignments. I always like to do that because if something's not published yet, I don't want to see it in my gradebook because the students haven't done it yet. So those are just some other pieces that you can apply here. Okay, so now if I'm looking at my gradebook, I don't see that assignments column over here anymore. That just visually helps me look through things and not be overwhelmed by additional columns and thinking I have more to grade than what I actually do. Other pieces that I would recommend looking at on here is just some keyboard shortcut components. So Canvas will automatically flag an assignment as late, which has a specific color in Canvas once the due date has passed. So you don't need a keyboard shortcut for that, but there are some other keyboard shortcuts that might be helpful. There are several keyboard shortcuts that you can use. So MI is missing assignment. So if you want to go through and just start entering those, you can flag it as missing by just typing in MI. You can use arrow keys to go down on your gradebooks if you're in a groove and you're really flying through some stuff. I'm thinking this would be really helpful for any of those paper assignments or things like that. You can go through. So if I have a student here, I just do MI, get rid of that. EX is excused. So I just use the enter key to go down, but you can also use arrow keys to move things around as well. Another piece that might be helpful to you, especially if you have lots of assignments and you're feeling like you're scrolling horizontally or having to click all the way down to the bottom and drag, is if you hold the shift button and you scroll at the same time, voila, it moves it over. So you don't have to sit there and move the toolbar over and over and over again. So shift and scroll, scrolls horizontally. That's also just consistent on other websites too. So helpful hint there for just navigating the interwebs. Other pieces I'll show you here in addition to that are just some SpeedGrader shortcut pieces. So if you ever wanted to jump and see a student's scores, those type of pieces, if I click grades, it'll change my gradebook view to where it's only this student and only focusing on them. So that's one helpful thing to do from here. But if I want to open SpeedGrader at any point in time for one of these assignments, I can click the assignment name, I can click the student submission for this example, and I can open SpeedGrader from here. So a helpful piece to do is under this settings cog button, there are options, and I can filter by the student name alphabetically. I can filter by their class period if I want to. I can also filter by or sort by the day they submitted the assignment, submission status. I can hide student names if I want it to be more anonymous. I can control those settings. Up here at the top is where I can sort through the different class periods as well. And then over here will allow me to go back to the gradebook view as traditional. Okay, so in this example, I can go through the arrow keys here. All right, but some of the other helpful gradebook hacks and hints for SpeedGrader are keyboard shortcuts as well. So if I do the J button, I can, losing my mouse. So if you click the settings button, you can also see some of the keyboard shortcuts for the students as well. So if I am here and I need to give some grades, I can look there, and I'm actually going to go through and I'm going to delete some of these grades so I can show you this a little bit better. All right, and he's probably wondering why I'm giving him fake grades in Canvas. But if I do the J button, that takes me to the next student. So if you see, I was on Nick before, and now I'm on this test student. If I use K, it takes me back to Nick. If I click the C button, it moves my cursor down here to the comment box. So this is really helpful if you want to give students some action items, some things they can work on. Just know that if you use comments in Canvas, they won't transfer over into PowerTeacher Pro. So the students will be able to see it within Canvas, but these do not carry over into PowerTeacher Pro. Right now, the integration between those two companies is purely taking scores and numbers over, not typed out comments. So just be mindful of that before you do it. But you also have options here to add different types of multimedia comments. And then this is a really cool feature that I don't know if I've seen that many people use in the district yet, but it could be super helpful if you are finding yourself writing the same comments over and over again to students. You can use a comment library and build your own comment library. So if I click this, I can turn on suggestions when typing. And then if I wanted to say, comment for my students, I can add it to my library. So I'm actually thinking this might be helpful if you're an English language arts teacher and there's similar things you're looking for, or if you're grading projects, it could be helpful. If I go back now, I can click on this button and then just select that from my comment library. So I don't have to sit there and type it out. Again, you can always do Control A, Control C, Control V to comment, paste it, so you don't have to even do those clicks if you want. But that's a really good way to build a library of comments, especially if you're using some pretty lengthy ones and you don't want to sit there and type them out every single time. Other keyboard shortcuts here for SpeedGrader is the R button will open the rubric for you. So if you've built a rubric in Canvas before, then you know they're pretty amazing and it just makes grading things even easier. Then it opens it for me and I can go through and select those different pieces. All right. So the G button is another keyboard shortcut, and that will change the grade. So if I had already entered a grade for this student, then it would open the little gradebook button for me where I can enter the score. I'm actually going to close this rubric right now. But if I did the G button, it moves my cursor right here to where I can enter that score and update it should I need to. So that's really helpful if you're going back and you're giving scores for students who maybe were excused or missing and it needs updated. If you click the G button, not click, but type in the G button on SpeedGrader, it opens that view for you so you can just type it in as you go. So those are just some helpful hints for SpeedGrader. I really recommend just using this options button to get yourself familiar with some of those keyboard shortcuts, as well as establishing some of those library of comments if you like them, and getting yourself familiar with how you can sort by the different students should you need to. And other piece I'll just say is that if you are wanting to quick fill a grade like you can do in PowerTeacher Pro in Canvas, you can also mass enter grades or give all students a default grade in Canvas like you can in PowerTeacher Pro. You'll just do set default grade, and then I'll just do 18, and then I can override that. So that's really good if you're in a hurry or you know students all get the same grade, paste it, and then if you need to make individual adjustments, you can. But just an idea there for you if you need them. So these are just some helpful hints in the Canvas Gradebook that might save you some time. If you have your own hacks and tips, please let me know, and I'm excited to see what you think, and good luck grading.